5 years ago, you made less money than you make today. You got the raises, the better title, the bigger number on the check. So why are you still counting the days until payday? Why does the account still go quiet around the 24th? Why does a surprise $300 still feel like a problem you have to solve? You did everything right. You earned more. And somehow you're standing in the exact same spot. Here's what nobody tells you. Poverty doesn't always show up as a crisis. Sometimes it shows up as 1,000 small decisions you never noticed making. And every one of them is being written down. Somewhere there's a receipt with your name on it. You've never seen it. You've been paying it for years. You're about to find out what's on it. It's a Tuesday. You're tired. You stop for coffee, $5, maybe $7 with the tip. You tap the card, you don't even look at the number. The reader beeps, the cup's warm in your hand, and you're back in the car before you finish the thought. That afternoon, you're busy, so you order in. A delivery fee, a service fee, a tip on top. The food shows up, you eat, you move on, gone from your memory before the container hits the trash. That's the day. A coffee, a lunch, a thing from an app you opened without deciding to. None of it felt like spending. It felt like getting through the day. And that's the part nobody warns you about. You think your money problem is the big stuff. The rent, the car, the bills that come in red. That's where you watch. That's where you're careful. But the big numbers never sneak up on you. You brace for those, you remember those. It's the small ones that get through. Too small to argue with, too small to feel, too small to remember by the time you're brushing your teeth that night. You'll defend the rent to the dollar while the small stuff walks out the door in broad daylight. Every day, wearing a disguise called it's only a few bucks. Somewhere, a line gets added to a receipt you've never seen. You don't notice. That's the whole trick. The most dangerous spending is the spending that leaves no memory. Here's the stranger part. Some of your money doesn't wait for you to spend it. It leaves on its own. Right now, while you're watching this, a card with your name on it is getting charged somewhere. A subscription you forgot you started, a free trial that quietly turned real, a membership for an app you opened twice in March. You didn't decide to spend that money today. You decided once a long time ago and then you forgot. And the charge kept going. Every month, while you slept, while you worked, while you were busy watching the big stuff. The email comes. Your payment was successful. You don't open it. You don't even rate it as money anymore. It's just noise. That's the trap. The coffee, at least you held, you tasted it. This money you never even touch. You never feel it leave. It just slips out the back on a schedule you set and stopped watching. A leak you can see, you fix. A leak you can't see, you fund for years. Another line on the receipt you've never seen. Some money isn't spent. It escapes. The phone still works. It's fine. Holds a charge, makes the calls, the screen isn't even cracked. You buy the new one anyway. For about a week, it feels incredible. You notice it in your hand. You show people. Then one morning you pick it up and it's just your phone. The new wore off. And somewhere in the back of your head, quietly, you start waiting for the next one. It's the apartment too. You move somewhere nicer. The first night you stand in the middle of it and feel like you made it. Each one lifts you for a week. Then the floor rises to meet it and you're standing in the same place you started, just paying more to stand there. That's the part nobody tells you. You're not climbing. You're raising the height you have to pay for to feel normal. Every upgrade swore it'd be the one that finally felt like enough. None of them were. There's always a next one. Always a slightly better version of the life you already have, sitting just out of reach, asking for money you don't have yet. And the receipt gets a little longer. You didn't improve your life, you improved your baseline. And then it happens. The thing you've been working toward for years, you get the raise, maybe it's a promotion, maybe a new job. Maybe you finally asked and they finally said yes. The number on the check goes up, not a little, enough to matter. Enough that you do the math on the drive home and feel something open up in your chest. For the first time in a long time, you exhale. You tell yourself it's going to be different now. And for about a month, it is. You stop flinching at the grocery total. You say yes to dinner without checking first. You upgrade a couple of things. You earned it, you tell yourself, and you did. You take the trip you've been putting off. You breathe. This is what it was all for. This is the part where it finally gets easier. Then the months go by, 4, 5, 6, and one night you're paying bills and you open the account and you stop. Because the number at the bottom looks exactly like it did before the raise. Same balance, same tightness by the 24th. The same quiet math you've done your whole life, just with bigger numbers in it now. You're making more than you ever have. And you're standing in the exact same spot. You scroll back through the statements, looking for where it went. And there's no single thing. No crisis, no disaster, just a life that quietly grew to swallow the raise whole. The nicer groceries, the easy yes. The upgrades that became normal in a week. The whole thing rose to meet the money the second the money arrived. Nobody stole it. You handed it over, a little at a time, without ever noticing you were doing it. That's the cruelest part. You didn't fail. You succeeded. You did the exact thing they tell you to do. You earned more, and the reward vanished into the same place everything else vanishes. The place you've never been able to see. For the first time, you can feel it. There's a receipt. It's long, and your raise is on it. The fastest way to stay poor is to spend more every time you earn more. This one isn't about money, not really. You buy the watch, or the car you can't quite cover, or the jacket with the name on it that costs more than your week. And you tell yourself it's for you, but you know where you wear it. You wear it where people can see. Because somewhere along the way, being seen as someone who's struggling became unbearable, worse than the struggling itself. You can survive being broke. What you can't survive is people knowing. So you buy the proof, something that says, I'm fine. I'm not behind. You post the picture. Someone comments. Someone you went to school with says it looks good on you, asks what you do now. And for 1 second, one real second, you feel it. You feel like the person you're pretending to be. Then you put the phone down, and the apartment is the same apartment. The account is the same account. And the watch sits on your wrist like a bill you'll be paying for the next 11 months. Here's the part you don't say out loud. You're not buying things. You're buying a version of yourself that doesn't exist yet. You're paying every month to look like the man you're scared you'll never actually become. And that fear, the fear of being seen as behind, is the exact thing keeping you behind. Because the money that could have made you that man quietly went into pretending to already be him. Another line on the receipt. This one with someone else's eyes on it. The people trying hardest to look rich are usually the furthest from becoming it. It's late. You're tired. Not sleepy tired. The kind that doesn't go away on the weekend. You're on your phone in the dark, and you see it. Someone your age, someone who looks like you, standing next to something you can't afford, explaining how they did it. The coin, the trades, the program, the thing that finally worked, and something in you leans in. You don't buy it because you're stupid. You buy it because you're exhausted. Because you've been doing the slow grinding version for years and you're still standing in the same spot. And here's someone telling you there's a door, a shortcut, a way to skip the part that's been crushing you. So you pay. The course, the signals group, the starter kit for the side hustle that's finally going to change everything. And for a little while, you feel it. That lightness, the feeling that you found the way out. That feeling is what you actually bought, not the coin, not the course. The relief, the few days where you get to believe the grind has an exit and you found it and it's almost over. But here's what the relief costs you. When you believe you found the shortcut, you stop doing the slow thing. The boring thing. The thing that actually works, but takes years you didn't want to spend. The shortcut becomes the reason you quit the only road that was ever going anywhere. You didn't waste money on a course. You spent it on permission to stop trying the hard way. The last line goes onto the receipt. It's full now. You finally see it. The receipt that's been getting longer this whole time. You brace for a number. There isn't one. Because the receipt was never keeping track of money. It was keeping track of time. The vacation you kept saying you'd take next year. It's on there. The year you could have stopped working and didn't have to. On there. The emergency fund that was never there, so every flat tire, every busted tooth, every bad month became a crisis instead of an inconvenience. On there. The house you'd have owned by now. The retirement that moved 1 year further away, every year, like a horizon you were never going to reach. The version of you that isn't tired all the time. All of it. On the receipt, paid in full. And here's the part that should stop you cold. There was no big mistake, no single moment you can point to, no villain. Just 1,000 small purchases, each one too small to notice, each one too small to mourn. You didn't get robbed. You got nickeled and dimed out of the entire life you were supposed to have, and you signed for every line. It's a Tuesday. You're tired. You stop for coffee, maybe 7 with the tip. You reach for the card. The reader is waiting. Same morning, same cup, the same hand you've used 1,000 times without once watching it move, and this time your thumb stops. Just for a second, just before the tap. You don't put the coffee back. You're not going to. You buy it. You always do. But something is different now and it can't be undone. For the first time, you saw the line being written. You felt the pen. That's all that changed. Not the coffee, not the card, just the fact that now you can see it. The receipt is still running. It always will be. The things keeping you poor were never expensive. They were just invisible. Until now. You finally see it. The receipt that's been getting longer this whole time. You brace for a number. There isn't one. Because the receipt was never keeping track of money. It was keeping track of time. The vacation you kept saying you'd take next year. It's on there. The year you could have stopped working and didn't have to. On there. The emergency fund that was never there, so every flat tire, every busted tooth, every bad month became a crisis instead of an inconvenience. On there. The house you'd have owned by now. The retirement that moved 1 year further away, every year, like a horizon you were never going to reach. The version of you that isn't tired all the time. All of it. On the receipt, paid in full. And here's the part that should stop you cold. There was no big mistake, no single moment you can point to, no villain. Just 1,000 small purchases, each one too small to notice, each one too small to mourn. You didn't get robbed. You got nickeled and dimed out of the entire life you were supposed to have, and you signed for every line. It's a Tuesday. You're tired. You stop for coffee, maybe 7 with the tip. You reach for the card. The reader is waiting. Same morning, same cup, the same hand you've used 1,000 times without once watching it move, and this time your thumb stops. Just for a second, just before the tap. You don't put the coffee back. You're not going to. You buy it. You always do. But something is different now and it can't be undone. For the first time, you saw the line being written. You felt the pen. That's all that changed. Not the coffee, not the card, just the fact that now you can see it. The receipt is still running. It always will be. The things keeping you poor were never expensive. They were just invisible. Until now.